The story that is just riveting the entire world right now is this insane story about a missing Titanic tourist sub. It is absolutely shocking, and again, the drama is playing out in real time. As of this morning, there were less than 24 hours of oxygen on board the missing OceanGate Titan submarine, according to an estimate from the U.S. Coast Guard. So essentially, there was a very small vessel. It launched a journey on Sunday with 96 hours of oxygen on board to go down to the bottom of the ocean where the Titanic sank and go look at the ruins of the Titanic. And then the thing basically just went missing. It went missing and it never emerged. The passengers have been identified as the OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, a French mariner named Paul-Henri Nargeolet, British businessman and explorer Hamish Harding, Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood, and his son Suleiman Dawood. Apparently, it's a 5-person submersible. It weighs 20,000 pounds and it is capable of diving 13,120 feet. Apparently, Canadian aircraft have been deployed to try and find this thing. They're searching an area the size of Connecticut. They picked up underwater noises in the search area, and they have now deployed resources to try to rescue this submarine. 3 C-17 aircraft, according to the Daily Wire, from the U.S. Air Force reportedly landed at a cargo terminal in St. John's, Newfoundland, carrying unmanned vehicles capable of going 19,000 feet underwater, as well as 2 heavy-duty Hyundai winches, emblazoned 6,000-kilogram line pole, a huge roll of cable, 2 large machines that set high voltage on their sides. The equipment was then taken to a port where a ship dubbed the Horizon Arctic was scheduled to leave at midnight, although the journey to the area where Titan is submerged would take fully 15 hours. The Titan may be as deep as 12,000 feet below the surface and weighs apparently 10,432 kilograms. So both winches would be necessary to pull it out. Apparently, late on Tuesday night, banging sounds were reported coming in 30-minute intervals near where the Titan went missing with its passengers. The fact that people got on this rickety craft in the first place is rather astonishing. There's a video a few years ago of the OceanGate CEO trying to explain this submersible. Suffice it to say that it basically looks like somebody took a water heater and a Nintendo joystick and some Christmas lights and riveted all that crap together and was like, what if we just dump you 13,000 feet under the water? It really is quite frightening stuff. Here's some background on the dumb submersible.
Hi, my name is Stockton Rush. I'm the CEO and founder of OceanGate. Let's take a look at Titan. So we're coming into the sub. This is the only toilet available on a deep diving submersible. Best seat in the house. You can look out the viewport. We put a privacy screen in, turn up the music, and it's very popular.
It's a popular toilet, guys.
Control screen here, our sonar screen here, and we can put any image we want in the back. We've taken a completely new approach to the sub design, and it's all run with this game controller and these touch screens.
He's using like a Nintendo controller.
You press forward. If you want to go back, you go back. Turn left, turn right.
He built this thing
go down, go up.
In his backyard.
It's Bluetooth, so I can hand it to anybody. And it's meant for a 16-year-old to throw it around, and super durable. We keep a couple of spares on board just in case.
Oh, a couple of spares.
Well,
that's
comforting. This is the second year we've been out to the Titanic. We went out in 5 8-day missions. We did about 10 dives to the wreck site of the Titanic, and we did an extra dive on an undiscovered reef.
Look at this
thing.
Found. I mean, look at this
privately
thing.
Funded,
He made it with like duct tape.
Operation, and we're funded by we call mission specialists who help support the mission. So they take quite a bit of money to come and join us.
He like took a garden hose and hooked it up to like a bathtub. Okay, so yeah, people paid apparently $250,000 a pop to go out in this thing. That is some bad judgment, because a lot of the former guests in the submersible, they're like, yeah, it turns out that when you hook up a bunch of garden hoses to a water heater and then grab a Nintendo 64 joystick and use it to control this jerry-rigged thing, and the great feature of it is that it has a poop hole where we have a screen and some music. It turns out that sucks, and you don't really want to be in it, and you might die. Here are some of the guests talking about it.
When we went down, it was just, there were communication problems on every trip I've taken. Of the 4 separate dives I'd taken with OceanGate, every time there was a problem with at least, sporadically communicating with the surface.
Before we went, we had never seen the sub. We didn't know anything about it. There's very little information on the website. I didn't know at that point that you drive the thing with an Xbox game controller. I didn't know that the ballast was, used construction pipes. And then you get the tour, and Stockton Rush, the designer of the sub, the CEO, explains to you that all of this stuff, the lights and the handles and the propellers, these are off-the-shelf parts.
He went to Home Depot and he made a thing. Now, the question is why people were like, okay, well, I'm going to do it. Now, one of the reasons is because there's a weird thing that happens in markets where when you price things high enough, people think that they must be good. It is an actual thing. It's why brands, like brand names, big brand names, Gucci, they'll price things really, really high. Versace, they'll price things really high just so that you think that it's like worth a lot of money, because we just have a built-in bias that because competition has made free markets so efficient, if something is worth a lot of money, it must be worth a lot of money. And so he was charging like $250,000 per person to go down there. So people probably go, well, the guy is charging $250,000. It must be pretty sick. Wrong. It turns out not. As our nation's birthday approaches, July 4th is coming, and there is a way that you can feel better, and that is the greatest meat on planet Earth. I'm talking about our friends at Good Ranchers. They have the best quality meats you've ever tasted, and they only sell meat that was raised right here in the United States. Producer Savvy, whose birthday it is today, happy birthday to Savvy. She watched her husband cook sirloin steak. He pan-seared it medium rare. She said that it was delicious because Good Ranchers only makes good meat. From now until Independence Day, Good Ranchers will be offering the best deals to give you freedom from the meat aisle. From ribeyes, New York strips, all-natural burgers, to the most delicious chicken you could ever want, Good Ranchers has something for everyone, including Savvy. Plus, right now, you'll get $30 off with our code Ben at GoodRanchers.com. If you're looking for a way to wow the family during your 4th of July gathering, check out their website recipe of Texas-style chopped patty melt. So, what exactly are you waiting for? Let the mouth-watering aroma of American-made meat fill the air, bringing joy, unity, and delectable flavors to your celebration. Head to GoodRanchers.com. Use our code Ben for $30 off any box. That's promo code Ben at GoodRanchers.com. GoodRanchers.com is American meat delivered, the best meat on planet. They made me a kosher steak one time. It was amazing. Go check them out right now. GoodRanchers.com. Use code Ben for $30 off any box. It takes a special kind of company to want to partner with this show because, let's be real about this, there are a lot of corporations that are very, very afraid of their DEI, ESG, woke scold investors at BlackRock and Vanguard. That is not the case with our friends over at Pure Talk. Pure Talk makes it possible for people like me to get up and tell you things that are true each and every day. Pure Talk shares my values as well as the values of other hosts here at The Daily Wire. That's why we made them the official partner of The Daily Wire, but that's not the only reason. We check the coverage. It is premium. Pure Talk is the most dependable 5G network in the United States. I use it myself. Mix and match your plans to fit every person in your family. Choose from talk, text, and 5G data for just $20 a month, all the way up to unlimited data with mobile hotspot for $55 a month. Remember, you vote with how you spend your money, so stop supporting wireless companies that, take all of your money and then spend it on a bunch of crap that opposes your actual politics and values. Go to puretalk.com/Shapiro. Save an additional 50% off your very first month of coverage. That is puretalk.com/Shapiro. Pure Talk is wireless for Americans by Americans. Go check them out right now. puretalk.com/Shapiro. Save an additional 50% off your very first month of coverage. It also turns out that the strictures of DEI have apparently bled down to even the dumbest levels. So DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, apparently it even has applied down to like the level of what if we build a toothpaste tube and combine it with a bunch of hoses from your shower? And they're like, yeah, well, white people won't do it, so that'll make it awesome.
Yes, I mean, when I started the business, one of the things you'll find there are other sub-operators out there, but they typically have gentlemen who are ex-military submariners, and you'll see a whole bunch of 50-year-old white guys. I wanted our team to be younger, to be inspirational, and I'm not going to inspire a 16-year-old to go pursue marine technology. But a 25-year-old, who's a sub-pilot or a platform operator or one of our techs can be inspirational. And so we've really tried to get very intelligent, motivated, younger individuals involved because we're doing things that are completely new.
No more 50-year-old white guys. I mean, sure, a bunch of 50-year-old white guys are the people who can afford to pay me $250,000 to go down in my crappy submersible. But yeah, what we need is more diversity. Oh, diversity is our strength. Strikes again. Okay, so all of this it's hard to comment about it because we actually, at the time that we are talking about this, don't know the outcome of all of this. So it could be just horrifically tragic. It's hard to think of a worse way to die than 13,000 feet below sea level, underwater, and suffocating to death in a submersible. That sounds like a horrible way to go. Or it could be one of the great rescue stories ever, that somehow this thing was located and dragged back to the surface. It is not openable from the inside. Apparently, even if they grab the thing, it still takes time to tow it to the surface. And so they're going to then have to open it from the outside. It's actually bolted closed from the outside. It's all, quite terrifying. One thing that is worth noting here is the amount of effort, time, and money that's going to be put into saving this submersible is not even remotely. It's not even remotely the kind of effort that anyone is putting into, I don't know, saving people who are trying to float themselves off the coast of communist hellhole like Cuba to the coast of Florida. If we're going to devote this kinds of resources to saving a bunch of billionaires who are below the waves because they put themselves there in harm's way in order to view a ship that we know sank 100 years ago, and which there is already excellent footage of because James Cameron has taken that footage, actually. If we're going to do that, I feel like we should spend at least an equivalent amount of money to save people who are attempting to escape some of the worst situations on planet Earth and make their way to freedom. Maybe that's just me. I know there's some people out there who are, admiring of the people who have decided to make this journey down to see the Titanic. To me, this is not quite on the order of advancing science. And there are certain acts of exploration that advance science. Going up into space, paving the way for making space more visitable or habitable, or making scientific gains. That is one thing. Taking a submersible down to see a ship that sank 100 years ago, and doing so then in a way that in no way advances science. Again, people can use their money how they want. And if this is how people want to use their money, they're more than welcome to do it. I've seen some people, including my friend Matt Walsh, be like, this is the spirit of exploration. Seeing cool things at close proximity, I like it also, but this is no more the spirit of exploration than somebody who pays for a very expensive safari in Africa, right? It's tourism. It's not breaking any new boundaries here. That does not, again, speak to the tragedy of what could occur here. And obviously, the HBO documentary on all this is going to be riveting, but frightening and creepy stuff. And also, folks, check out the machinery that you are using before you get into it, would be my recommendation. Alrighty, guys, the rest of the show continues right now. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be joined on the line by former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. If you're not a member, become a member. Use code Shapiro. Check out for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click that link in the description and join us.